I am Mark Stewart Greenstein, candidate for governor. I was in New London for this evening's debate. No, I was not on stage. Our time will come. So I did want to respond to questions of those who were on stage as if I had been there. And the two that I wanted to respond to both come from Ms. Larraneta. So number one was that first question about the candidate's sincerity about budget cuts. Where are they going to really come from? I have a solution that is so beautiful, and I believe it's what at least 70% of Connecticut wants. They would like to have more control over what state services get funded. They're horrified by how many of their dollars get misused, how many functions we're funding that are stupid in the first place. Putting every one of us taxpayers in control gets us a better result. I envision 20%. That is not going to be a dictate, but it's going to be a strong suggestion. The least necessary 20% to be funded privately. Foundations, individual taxpayers, and new taxpayers that are getting 30% back from my tax cut, they may add to this. So there's your sources that might actually increase the funding for a lot of departments that are underfunded now. Departments that are not serving a good mission, they're going to get less funding. That's the way it should be. The public should have a smorgasbord of services that it decides to fund and how much. State will put a thumb on the scale for 2 years worth. And still there's 80% that I'm considering necessary. In later years, I'd like to whittle that down too, as we find that a lot of things that were considered necessary really aren't. Necessary functions of government should be limited, really limited, to protecting against crime, to environmental protection, some elements of transportation, some elements of publicity, not much else. And those who agree with me can still fund the non-necessary services amply. Okay? It doesn't mean those non-necessary services are bad. They're very good, but they can get funded privately, and with that, they're probably managed better too. Let me go to the other question. It's about the opioid addiction. We didn't hear from either candidate on stage the response that's a moral one. That opioid addiction will get trounced when we uplift civics and remind people a message that has gotten lost. That God doesn't want you putting strange substances in your body. The message that we have so many great things to take advantage of without being stoned. That our mental highs from music, from experiencing nature, from experiencing each other are so good, there's no need to inject yourself with anything. There's no need to ingest anything. It is immoral to other people who care about you. That's the other thing. Civics have not been strongly emphasized about the morality of what a drug user does to other people around who care about you. We can get some of that back, maybe a lot of that back, if we allow parents, schools, community leaders to say civic things that have been squelched of late. Now, there is the problem of the addict who's not trying to get a high but trying to relieve pain. This one still has a relative moral component too. Stop even taking the pain-killing numbing when it might disrupt your brain cells for life. Okay, put up with the pain. I have 2 friends now who've had surgeries and refused to have any opioids. It was meant to be just short term, but we've heard of how it can mess up people long term. They said, I'll deal with extra pain. Our sensitivities should not be, our bodily sensitivities should be subordinate to our brain. Don't mess it up. It is holy. It is sacrosanct. And when we have that kind of appreciation for what God gave us and what we can do with or without God and our brains, we just might stop messing with the chemicals that can infect our brains. All right, thank you for asking those questions. Hopefully, I'll be on stage next time to take my turn in front of you. Have a nice night.